Welcome everybody to the Trisbrina Show. Can you hear that? What's that sound? No, not the sound of this music. And not the sound of the computer hum. I hear it.
Yeah. In the sound that we're going to be talking about tonight's show, it's really funny. It's the sound of silence.
The sound of nothing.
It's really deafening, and
it can be.
It can be so loud that you don't just hear it with your ears. It's you feel it.
The resonance.
You feel it in your being, and to me, it has a texture. It's very thick. The sound is thick, like the inside of a seashell. And we had a really profound moment last night.
We did. We'll tell you all about that.
Yeah.
Before you do, though, years and years ago when I first met Sabrina, she was doing a lot of yogic type meditations, and I was learning those as well. And she had been shown a technique, a method of connecting to this sound through meditation. And you may have heard within the Buddhist meditation tradition, they have a practice called nada yoga, which isn't like nada, like in Espanol, but it's the sound of nothingness or the sound of silence. And so I was always really curious, what is this sound that Sabrina can hear? Because I certainly couldn't hear it. I knew how to meditate here and focus on my breath and things like that. But when we were, what she's going to share with you yesterday, it was a complete synchronicity. She looks at me and she says, well, you'll hear, it was the first time that I had heard the sound in the way that we're going to describe it to you. And there's a little bit more to that.
Yeah.
So let's dig in.
Well, I started hearing this sound, noticing it in the middle of the night, years and years ago, when I would get up to go to the bathroom. I would think, what is that noise? What is that noise? And I think that I was able to tap into it, or it was able to tap into me, because the sound is always there. It's just, are you in the vibrational frequency to hear it and receive it? Because it's like radio stations. We have all the stations going on and all the different vibrations and brain waves. And we can only hear whatever station we're tuning to. And maybe in the middle of the night, there was such a rest and such a peace, like most meditation teachers say, right before you go to bed and right when you wake up in the morning. And when you're in that partially drowsy state, is such a great time to put forth your prayers and put forth your intentions, because you can kind of sneak around the conscious mind and be open to it. And when I first started hearing it, and it's really not a hearing, I mean, that's what we're going to call it, hearing, because it's a sound, but it's the sound of a vibration that has a feeling. And again, I'm going to say, if you put like a big conch shell up to your ear, you hear that. You hear the vacuum. You hear the sound of no sound. So if I had to say anything that it would be like that, which maybe the conch shell has that shape to it,
Like an ear.
that creates an ear, or a cathedral like the head, that allows a vibration to be interpreted by the brain.
Aha.
As a sound.
Like an instrument, like a
Yeah.
flute, when you send breath through the flute, and there's shapes that you make with the fingers on the vessel.
Yeah.
And you get various sounds. There's a particular resonance that comes through our instrument. So you didn't really dig into what was going on yet.
You can
right?
tell.
We were standing.
Where were we?
Oh, let me think. Where were we? We were at our beautiful house that we have been calling the old house, but it's really not old. It's just the previous house.
And there's only, 10% of our stuff left there.
Not much left. And we were just standing in the kitchen after we'd been through all the rooms and collecting the goods that were going to come here, finding the things that we could give to charity, things that needed to be released in other ways, like the trash. And we both looked at each other, and it was so still and empty. And she had that look on her face that I remember years ago when she would go into this meditation and hear this sound. And she looks at me and she says, "Can you hear it?" And I had been listening to this fine-tuned sound, like she said, with the seashell. And it was so loud, like Debbie said, who's here with us live. It's so loud. It was so loud and so quiet. Does that make sense? It was so loud. I could hear it because I was quiet. You have to get quiet to be able to hear how quiet this is. And we were both having this experience simultaneously of the sound of silence.
For a long time, we just stood there.
Closed our eyes, and you don't want to not be in it because it's so calming. And it is a visceral experience. It's a vibratory experience moving through you, and it's cleaning you out and aligning you, and it just feels so beautiful that we just stood and looked into each other's eyes, and it was like a reset.
Yeah. It's a feeling that I'm sure many of you have experienced, maybe not with the sound of silence, or some people call it like the music of God. Excuse me while I stop that.
That's my agent. Please tell him I'll call him back.
I got the part. What was I saying?
About the sound of silence.
Oh, no way. Was I talking about that?
You were talking about the sound of silence. I don't remember.
Oh, that there is emotionally, I think so many of our thoughts, I'll just say me, how you can let me know in the chat. A lot of my thoughts are about things I need to do, things I need to accomplish, things that are still left open, making plans for the future, thinking about things that I've already done that maybe didn't go quite the way that I wanted them to, things that went the way I wanted them to that I'm hoping will happen again. Like all of these things that aren't necessarily helping me to be here now. And to hear and to be in that sound, you do have to stay in it, or you're not with it. And there's a feeling of complete. I am complete. And all those, for me, those thoughts about, I need to go and do that. I need to do that. I need to get that done. Oh, that's not good enough. Oh, I wish I had. None of those thoughts can be there because it feels like everything it is complete. You feel total. And I wouldn't know that I wasn't feeling total until I felt this total. Until you drop in like this, where there isn't really a want or a desire. Not that wants and desires are bad, but it's just like, this is so much, I just kind of want to hang in this vibration for just a little bit, because you can tell when it's happening. You feel like, I can just be in this forever, but you also know that it's a little tiny door that gets really big.
And it's very sublime, and it goes undetected, usually because there's a lot of noise here. I'll liken it to in your home, if you've ever noticed when the refrigerator engine stops or the air conditioning unit stops, and all of a sudden you drop in a layer more of silence, and you're like, wow, I didn't realize how noisy it was until I dropped in, until that thing turned off. In fact, I think we could probably all practice this right now.
All right.
Let's drop in. If you're in an area where there's a lot of noise, it will be more difficult. But if you can put yourself or take your phone with you and go to a quiet space in your home or wherever you are, and just check in for a minute.
Or use the contrast. Sometimes when you're in a really loud place, for me, it's so easy because the contrast is so big between really loud and really quiet.
But you're dropping in, the engine of the refrigerator goes off in the mind.
Yeah.
Let's try.
I would say like step 1 in Mushin with
They know that word.
In our Art of Mushin meditation, where like one of the first steps is meditation with your eyes open and you're slowing everything down. To me, that is a doorway into the music, into the sound of silence, because it quiets everything.
You're listening for this. It's almost like a high pitch frequency. Let's try. Just be. It gets louder.
I'm going to share something with you that I shared with Tristan last night. That was part of a meditation technique that was taught to me years ago that kind of helps you feel the cathedral vibration of sound in your head, which this isn't about having like, oh my gosh, I heard the music, I'm so evolved. It's nothing like that, right? It's about what that vibration does to you. So what I want you to do is we're going to close our mouths and yawn. And when you do, kind of feel the soft palate, the roof of your mouth lift, and listen for that sound. Okay, I'm going to yawn with my mouth open to provoke your yawn to be bigger. You keep your mouth closed there. Ready? Now with the mouth closed, could you hear that? And was it a hearing or a feeling? Can you feel it when you do that?
I just hear it. And it's receptivity. It's like tuning into a station. It gets louder and louder the more you drop in.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be present. We've been practicing lately. A conversation has been be here now. You have to really drop into the moment and listen. And it's imagine like how a cat and a dog can hear other frequencies than the human ear. It's like you're refining your hearing and you can hear this sound. Now, what I told Sabrina yesterday when we were in the kitchen, I said, you know what? This is a sound I used to hear as a young boy. I used to be in my bed when I lived in England and I would hear this sound. It was so loud and I didn't know what it was, and I would run into the other room. I remember the first time it happened and I told my mom and dad, what's this sound? They told me to go back to bed. There was no sound. Probably having a bad dream. No, not at all. There was a receptivity in the instrument that could perceive this silence. And when you start to relate to it, like almost like commune with it, you realize how sacred it is and how godly it is to be in that stillness. And it's a beautiful reset for the brain, and it activates this, oh my gosh, I am this silence, I am this force, source, energy.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Because when you are, when you're experiencing really the vibration of love, the vibration of God, you're experiencing now. We've been talking a lot about be here now. That sound is to me, it's like the sound of now. You can never feel like you're
the sound of now. That's good.
Isn't that great?
I like that.
The sound of now, because to me it feels so thick. It feels puffy. I can hear high pitch, but it's very full. It's got a roar to it, and it's in you and around you. It's not just like, oh, I heard a little jingle. It's not like that at all. Why should we care? Some of you may be thinking.
You may be wondering. By the way, if you're not hearing it just yet, that's okay. This conversation will provoke you to pay more attention, and you'll notice, just like us, you'll slip in. You're like, wait a minute, that's that conversation those guys were having about. It might not happen right now.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. It's just we've kind of primed the pump.
Even last night, we were actually having a conversation, and then kind of all of a sudden, I said, can you hear that?
We both were just like, whoa.
Yeah, but if it hadn't taken me like, whoa, and I didn't say that, we could have just had a conversation on top of it. Not that it wouldn't be there, but you can miss it.
I think it was a sacred moment, though. It's like when you're present, because we were both stood in the kitchen and we were honoring the home. That's what we were talking to the home and saying thank you. And it was in that honoring and in that presence of gratitude that somehow we dropped into it. So you never know when it's going to strike, right? That happens with the third eye. For those of you who practice opening the third eye and doing the Mushin meditation Sabrina mentioned, all of a sudden you might be in the middle of something and you'll feel a little tingling or twirling, and you're sucked in. You're like, whoa, so present, so beautiful. Were you going to say something else about?
Probably.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's like when we go shopping and Tristan will say, are you looking for something? And I'll say, yeah. And I say,
She
what?
always says yes.
And I say, I don't know. I'll let you know when I see it.
I want you to show them some of the angels. So this is called the angel room.
Go get that one.
We're going to show you some friends who live in this space, and they're holding space with all of us. Check this out.
If we can't really, with the setup that we have, twirl the camera, but maybe next time we'll face the other way. But there's a bay window, and the bay is made up of 3 windows, I guess is what and one of these is, and they're all 3 different. Hold it higher. We have to get number 3.
Well, there's more over here too.
Some people have wise men, we have angels. And look, this one's playing music. This one's in Namaste, and that one's playing music.
It's the sound of silence. It's the sound of now.
Aren't they beautiful? So what I love is because they're in the windows and the curtains are open, as it gets dark out and we come up to the house,
You can see their silhouettes.
From the back.
Isn't that cool?
It's like, ooh, they have angels in the windows or bats.
This new space has such an incredible vibration in it already. Sabrina's been teaching in the mornings and christening the space with very high vibes. Shall I put the ladies back?
Mm-hmm.
Is this the one that goes in the center?
Yeah.
She goes in the center and she goes over there.
Those 2 were my mother's, and then I just got this one. At Home Goods, when I didn't know what I was looking for until I saw her, and then I'm like, that's what I came here for. I like the way a lot of these angels, they don't put faces on them. There's something really, really sweet about that. I'll actually show you just one more that we both really like. She's carved out of wood. Just so simple.
What do the angels represent to you? What do angels represent to you guys? We are loving the new house, Susan. Thank you. It's been amazing. We're sleeping really well here, mainly because we're exhausted. But no, the vibration, and we're sleeping up. We have never slept up on 2nd story.
Mm-hmm. Which brings a lot of different nighttime activities with the dogs when we get up with them. I'm a little slower bringing my clothes here. Like I slept in Tristan's clothes last night.
She did. If you guys are on the Facebook stories, you've got to look at my story. It's so funny.
I am wearing his pants, his t-shirt, and his jacket. The only thing I had of my own was my shoes. I haven't had time with trying to bring the business here and help my parents. And their house closed yesterday. There's just so much to do. We finally had like a fork that wasn't just a plastic fork yesterday.
So
like
let's see,
angels?
Judith says that angels to her represent messengers and protectors. That's beautiful. Susan says angels are our guides and protectors. There you go. Angels represent protection, says Betsy, support and guidance to her.
Mm-hmm.
One day I was sitting in meditation. Well, this happens often, but this particular time, and I felt very ascended, like the energy of me was going up and it went above this body, and there was no efforting, there was no trying to meditate. It just was very still, very relaxed. And then there was a presence. We call them the team or the friends, and it was blue and white, and there was a little council going on up there, and I was invited into it. Now, I know that sounds, for some people, like you guys, I get it, you're preaching to the choir here. You're like, oh yeah, I got a counsel too. But if I told that to some of my friends, they'd be like, okay. But I wasn't trying to have a counsel.
Yeah.
I was just there, and I felt this protection and this presence and this wisdom, and that I was part of this. Does anyone else, have you guys had that or anything like that? Because that's what's going on. We are not alone. There are angels and beings and protectors and guides in our lives, in our physical and non-physical. We just have to be in tune. It's really nice to know that you're not alone.
I think the angels, to me, remind me of my true nature, to be soft, to be sweet. There's a motherly quality that's very, very beautiful in most of them, and a kindness and a friendship. You know, when you see an angel, they always seem so compassionate and so understanding and so forgiving and so loving, that you could relate more to a mother, whereas some spiritual figurines and things that we look to have a more of a heavy, like the Greek gods, you know, there's like a heaviness to them, a strongness that for me is not as easy to see as that sweet friend that's always there and supporting me.
So you're still going, sorry.
No,
Your nickname, and you guys don't all know this, but this is Angel Bear. Because she's got that yin and yang going on. Sometimes she's like, "Rawr!" I'm like, Angel Bear, what's going on? And sometimes it's like, Angel, play. Rawr! This is Angel Bear. I guess I'm Bear Angel. So Karen says, I even have a parking angel called Bob. That's awesome. Sabrina has a lot of people named Bob. She calls everyone Bob if she doesn't know their name.
I don't mean to.
It's Bob.
My brain turns everyone's name into Bob.
Mary Ann says, yes, I have had this. I love knowing the angels are there along with my counsel. Right?
Yeah.
And Karen's digging the conversation.
Yeah.
Karen, it's so awesome to have you here and see you and participate like this. We're always reading your comments and always feeling the connection, the energetic connection of what happens, whether we're live or in the replay. You guys are part of the whole council, really. Like, we're all in this vibration together, those of us who are aligning to this conversation. So just know that not only is there council, but there's community. There's a lot of other people who are having this conversation, who want to have this conversation, who want to be in alignment and flow and love and do really good stuff. And have fun.
Yeah.
Right?
And it doesn't really matter to us how each and every person interprets their experiences. Right? So if you're like, I don't think about angels, I don't hear any sound, I'm anti-counsel, you know.
Anti-counsel.
You know, it's all okay.
I'm my own counsel.
I think based on our upbringing, based on what we brought into this lifetime with us, there are certain images and stories and ways that our brain helps us to evolve. And for some people it's certain ways, and some people it's other. I remember years ago I used to do these past life regression workshops, and I thought, well, you know, what if I'm just making it all up? And then I thought, well, that's okay too, because whatever my brain is making up, why is it making that up? And I can learn something from that, from these thoughts that are in my mind about what could possibly have happened. So you can always learn and grow, whether that's your actual experience or not, and allow everyone else to express it as they do. And that's what we really love to provide the space for.
Yeah, because everyone has their own way of viewing the world, their own belief systems, their own practices, the religion that they choose, and that's gorgeous. Whatever floats your boat, whatever draws more love out of you, that's my whole thing, is like, if you can feel people's energy, right?
Yeah.
And if you can feel goodness and kindness, benevolence and love, then whatever they're doing, encourage them to keep doing it.
Yeah, yesterday we were on this live cast and it was amazing. It was 3 or 4 hours long. There's some real like hot shots, highly successful internet marketers, teachers, gurus, blah, blah, blah. And everybody had like their 10 or 15 minutes to share what's working for them. And we were very appreciative to be invited and included with this group of people. And you could see the running chat, and people were like, that was a really helpful point. That during a lot of people's, so helpful. But and then we come on and the chat completely changed, and I thought it was so sweet. The chat became, do you feel their energy? Look at those. Look at the love coming from these people.
Glowing.
And it was at a business event. Yeah. And then, of course, they said that we had a lot of good business tips to share, but
Right.
how phenomenal that when you really allow yourself to, because when you're hearing, it's not when you're hearing, when you're in the vibrational frequency that lets you tap into the sound of silence that's always happening, it's going to come through your eyes and glisten to the person that you're looking at. It's what do we used to call it, an open secret. It's an open secret, and you can look at someone and tell if they are experiencing that love and kindness and excitement and appreciation. And I was just delighted to see this very sophisticated event immediately shift to talking about energy and love, and then of course about business too. But I think that was my favorite part of the whole thing.
That's the thing that we're trying to teach and share, is that they're not two.
No.
It's not physical and spiritual. It's not material and non-material or metaphysical. It's all one love. It's all love. Business is love.
Mm-hmm.
It's all one. We did get a hashtag hair goals.
Couple hair goals.
Yeah, that was funny. We just love showing up lit up and being authentic to our experience of expressing what we're calling love.
And it could feel very vulnerable. I'm sure if we hadn't been doing it for as long as we have, to like tell you guys, hey, let's talk about the deafening sound of silence, because it sounds pretty cuckoo.
Well,
right?
you know, these are conversations that have only ever happened here and in our kitchen. And then we're like, you know what? Let's just start sharing with our friends, and we will call in and attract. This is important business tip for those of you who are content creators and teachers and coaches. We said, let's share our song.
Yep.
Let's share our vibration, our narrative, and those who align to that will come, and we'll polarize those who aren't, and they don't need to be in our conversation.
We actually said
good.
that, I think it was about a year ago, or a year and a half ago, we said, we need to share the conversations we have in the kitchen.
That's
because
right.
when it was over,
That's
we'd
right.
be like, oh my gosh, we wish we had so many more people hearing. You know, if someone, to me, God is genius, is brilliance. It's this co-creative thought and insight and inspiration. And so sharing it makes it even bigger. When you share an insight that you've been given, because I really believe all of those insights are given, just like I said with this incredible sound that is so fulfilling, that's being given, and all I had to be was in the receptive mode. That's why we love practices like Qigong, moving meditation, moving the body. It gets the energy aligned so that you are receptive to be in the vibration of love. Everything that we do and teach is to increase our receptivity and your receptivity to the frequency of love. And inside of love, there is great abundance. There is unbelievable manifestation and the ability to create the life that you would like to have unfold with you and for you.
Yeah. I'm so grateful that I bumped into Sabrina in a meditation class over 30 years ago. I actually found a little card the other day that someone had given me, an invitation to this meditation class that was in an Aikido dojo. It was actually Steven Seagal's dojo in California. And Sabrina was there meditating, and I was quite distracted by the beauty of, I saw an angel, but I was there to learn to meditate. So I focused on my meditation, but we became really, really good friends. We spent every Christmas and holiday together, and we ended up dancing together in performances and just had this whole life, but it was based on meditation and what we now focus on as love, because meditation is just a modality. It's the result that's important.
Right.
It's not just dealing with stress, it's getting the outcome, which is the experience of joy and love. And so we practiced these energy arts and meditation arts for so many decades. And then we created our own way of sharing about that, our particular articulation, of ancient practices. And we created a program called the Art of Mushin. And it's evolved and developed over the years. And Sabrina has helped me morph it into something very tangible for everyone. And it has a lot of manifestation components to it as well. And so we've decided that we want to share that more. Not only do we want to share it at a mastery level, but we want to help certify teachers and coaches to teach this process. So just a quick heads up, that's about to happen, and we're getting pretty excited about it. We're going out after this for date night to finalize the curriculum for our community.
Yep. So I want to give you an analogy, because I love when Tristan said it's not about meditation, it's about the outcome. What does that mean? How can you feel that? Well, it's not about an exercise class. It's about experiencing health and vitality in your life and ageless mobility and freedom of movement. And a practice of meditation allows you to live a life where you're in control of your thoughts. You can sleep at night. You're choosing. You get to choose what you think about. You get to choose what you focus on. And that sounds like, oh, well, so what? Well, can you? Right? Most of the people suffering from so many illnesses is because of the thoughts and the inability to turn off the stress mode and to really feel. The most healing thing for me is to be able to feel completely taken care of, complete fulfillment and totality, and to move forward 100% in my life, feeling like I already have everything, but I can have even more health, more love, more joy. Because when you move forward from lack, you're moving forward into lack. So it isn't about having a bunch of stuff, but have a bunch of stuff if you want a bunch of stuff. It doesn't matter either way. It's what you feel. It's how you feel each and every moment. It's feeling good. It's having a life that, when we say like a life worth living. Every life is worth living. But when you can, sometimes you just say, wow, I had a really good day today. Well, could it be like, wow, I had a really good life this time?
Yes, check. That's what I'm talking about. I want to come flying in like, that was awesome! Woohoo! Thank you! And on that note, this has been awesome, and thank you guys. Thanks for all the sharing that came through. We are going to go do the date night thing. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your evening, whatever you're doing, or if you're catching the replay. This has been the Trisbrina Show. My name is Tristan, this is Sabrina, and we are here listening to the sound of silence. Much love, everybody. Have a beautiful one. Ciao.